Welcome to our channel. Today we are discussing about advising a demand guarantee or standby letter of credit. Whether you are a trade finance professional or just curious about the mechanism of international guarantees, this video will break it down for you. Advising a demand guarantee under URDG 758. When it comes to advising a demand guarantee under URDG 758, there are specific scenarios where a guarantor may instruct an advising party to step in and communicate the guarantee to the beneficiary. Let's explore why this happens. So, there are three key scenarios for advising. First one, unknown guarantor. If the guarantor is not familiar to the beneficiary, an advising party adds credibility. Second, non-SWIFT beneficiary. When the guarantee is sent via SWIFT, but the beneficiary is not a SWIFT member, then an advising party ensures delivery. Third, authenticity warranty. Beneficiaries may want an acceptable advising party, usually their bank, to verify the authenticity of the guarantee. These are the three scenarios where an advising party come into a picture. In other words, a guarantor may instruct an advising party to advise a guarantee to the beneficiary where the guarantor is unknown to the beneficiary, or the guarantee is to be transmitted by SWIFT but the beneficiary is not a member of SWIFT, or a beneficiary requests from an acceptable advising party a warranty of the authenticity of the guarantee. An acceptable advising party will generally be a bank with which the beneficiary has a commercial banking relationship. For beneficiaries, this requirement for the guarantee to be advised represent a useful middle option between accepting the guarantee directly from guarantor and requiring a counter guarantee structure with the guarantee being issued by the local guarantor. For a demand guarantee issued by a non-bank guarantor, the beneficiary may want its own bank to advise the guarantee in order to give additional protection on the authenticity of the guarantee. In another word, in most cases, the advising party is the bank that beneficiary already has a commercial relationship with. Why? Because this setup acts as a middle ground, as it is simpler than involving a counter guarantee structure, and it provides added assurance of authenticity. Also, if a guarantee is issued by a non-bank guarantor, the beneficiary may request its own bank to act as an advising party. This creates an additional layer of protection, ensuring the guarantee's authenticity. Why URDG 758 uses advising party instead of advising bank? Interestingly, URDG 758 refers to the term advising party rather than advising bank. While it is theoretically possible for a non-bank entity to advise guarantee, in practice it is extremely rare. Banks are almost always advising entities. The definition of URDG 758 Article 2 uses the term advising party rather than advising bank. In some cases, the guarantee may pass through multiple advising parties. For example, if the beneficiary wants a specific advising bank to authenticate the guarantee and that bank does not have a direct relationship with the guarantor, then the guarantor will route the guarantee through an intermediary bank that does. This results in a second advising bank being involved. That means a guarantee can be advised to the beneficiary through more than one advising party. The use of the second advising party results from the beneficiary's wish for a particular advising bank to authenticate the guarantee. If the bank is not one with which the guarantor has the correspondent banking relationship, the guarantor will need to route the guarantee through an intermediary bank that has such relationship with both the guarantor and the bank chosen by the beneficiary. The later bank becomes the second advising bank. Note that neither advising bank acts as an agent of the applicant. Now, let's discuss the advising bank's obligation under URDG 758. By advising the guarantee, the advising party represents that it has checked the apparent authenticity of the guarantee and the advice accurately reflects the terms and conditions as received. Remember, These are not absolute guarantees. They are limited to what an advising bank can reasonably verify. The advising bank can only check the apparent authenticity of the guarantee and the terms and conditions that has received. But what happens if the advising bank can't verify the guarantee's authenticity? Then the bank must inform the instructing party immediately. Alternatively, it can advise the advice but include a disclaimer to the beneficiary stating that it couldn't verify its authenticity. In more detail, if an advising bank is not prepared or not able to advise the demand guarantee, or if cannot satisfy itself as the apparent authenticity of the guarantee, it should without delay inform the party from whom it received the instruction. However, the advising bank can advise the guarantee, but at the same time informing the beneficiary that it has not been able to satisfy itself as the apparent authenticity of the guarantee. So the bottom line is, the advising process provides beneficiaries with reassurance without triggering a complex counter guarantee structure. For more details, we can check URDG 758 Article 10 and ISDGP sections E72 to 77. Now let's break down Article 10 of Uniform Rules for Demand Guarantees or URDG 758. This article focuses on process and obligation involved in advising a guarantee or its amendment. Let's start with the basics. Article 10 outlines that guarantee can be advised to the beneficiary through an advising party. When an advising party communicates a guarantee, it confirms two things: that it has been satisfied itself as the apparent authenticity of the guarantee, and that the advice it gives accurately reflects the terms and conditions of the guarantee as it was received. This also applies when the advising party works with a second advising party. The second advising party's role is to confirm the authenticity of the advice it received and ensure its accuracy before passing it to the beneficiary. Next, let's clarify what the advising party does and not do. According to Article 10C, when an advising party or second advising party advises a guarantee, it provides no additional representations and no additional undertakings to the beneficiary. This means their role is strictly limited to verifying and passing on the guarantee or amendment without any extra liabilities. Now, what happens if an advising party is unable or unwilling to advise a guarantee? Article 10D requires the advising party to notify the instructing party without delay. Similarly, if the advising party agrees to advise the guarantee but cannot verify its apparent authenticity, it must inform the party that sent the instruction, and if it still proceeds to advise the guarantee, it must notify the beneficiary or the second advising party that it could not verify the authenticity. This transparency ensures all parties are aware of potential risk associated with the guarantee. Finally, let's talk about amendments. When a guarantor uses an advising party or second advising party to advise a guarantee, Article 10F emphasizes consistency. Whether possible, the same advising party should be used for any amendment to the original guarantee. This continuity simplifies the process and ensures clear communication between all parties involved. In summary, Article 10 of URDG 758 provides a clear framework for advising guarantees and amendments. By understanding these rules, banks and beneficiaries can work together more effectively, ensuring trust and reliability in international trade transactions. Now let's explore the situation where a demand guarantee is not governed by an established rule, such as URDG 758. Unlike standardized guarantees, there is no set practice for advising these. Instead, the advising bank's responsibilities depend on the terms of the advice it provides. If a dispute arises over the undertakings given by the advising bank, it falls to the court to interpret and decide on these obligations. In practice, court may align these undertakings with the standards outlined in URDG 758, especially Article 10A, where Article 10A discusses advising signifies that the advising bank has checked the apparent authenticity of the guarantee. It also confirmed that the advising reflects the terms and conditions of the guarantee as received. While this isn't an absolute rule, it is common reference point for court when dealing with disputes in these scenarios. In short, there is no set practice for advising a demand guarantee that is not subject to any rules. You would have to look at the terms of the advice to see what undertakings have been given by the advising bank. In the event of dispute over undertaking given by advising bank, it would be up to the court having jurisdiction over the dispute to decide on these undertakings. In practice, a court may decide that the undertakings are similar to the undertakings set out URDG 758 subarticle 10A. Now let's shift gears to standby letter of credit under ISP 98 rule. Rule 2.05 outlines the advising bank's obligation, which are similar but not identical to those of URDG 758. So, here is what ISP 98 2.05 state. First, apparent authenticity. The advising bank must check the apparent authenticity of the message using standard letter of credit practice. This refers slightly from URDG 758, which uses the phrase satisfied itself as to the apparent authenticity. The advice must accurately reflect what was received. If the advising bank chooses not to advise the standby letter of credit, it must notify the requesting party promptly. That means ISP 98 Rule 2.05 uses a similar but not identical approach to URDG 758 for the undertaking by the advising bank and the duty of the advising bank to inform the guarantor if it is not prepared to advise the standby. Rule 2.05 states that the advisor has checked the apparent authenticity of the advised message in accordance with the standard letter of credit practice, rather than it has satisfied itself as to the apparent authenticity of the guarantee. In practice, it is unlikely that there would be any significant difference between the approaches adopted by an advising bank under ISP 98 and URDG 758. That means, in practice, while the languages differ differently, the actual approach taken by advising banks under ISP 98 and URDG 758 is largely similar. The goal in both cases is to ensure that the message is authentic to the best of the advising bank's ability to verify and the beneficiary receives accurate advice. To wrap things up, here are the main takeaways. For guarantees not subject to specific rules, the advising bank's obligation depend on the terms of the advice and court's interpretations. For guarantees not subject to specific rules, the advising bank's obligation depend on the terms of the advice. Second, ISP 98's Rules 2.05 provides clear guidelines for standby letter of credit, emphasizing apparent authenticity, accurate advice, and prompt notification if advice is not provided. In practice, the advising process under both framework aims to protect all parties by ensuring clarity and reliability. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more in-depth insights on international trade finance. Have questions or topic you would like to cover? Let me know in the comments below. See you in the next video.